Be the media yourself. That's what Lenny Charles has been up to. Thank God. Along with Tom, Lenny and he are pioneers in the alternative media. They created the International News Net, INN, and built its television and radio studios in 2003. The weekly one-hour news wrap-up became a daily evening news program beginning with the 2004 Republican National Convention held here in New York, as well as the technical expertise to build and operate a broadcast TV and radio studio. Lenny has interviewed hundreds of politicians, diplomats, authors, filmmakers, and activists until 2009. Lenny was one of the first videographers to film on Ground Zero and was there when Building 7 collapsed. In fact, he's wearing the same shirt from that day. Lenny Charles.
Thank you, Richard. It's been quite a ride. It's been amazing, but we have to remember this is a very sad day. It's a sad day, of course, for the victims and victims' family members, but it's also a sad day for the truth. But we're going to fix all that. Together we can do this. First, a very quick fireman story, I call it. I was wearing the same shirt. If you notice, the shirt has very similar colors and appearance to what the firemen wear. So I've got my big TV camera on my shoulders. It was right around the time we were getting ready to begin INN. And I'm walking down on the West Side Highway, and I'm walking next to this big fireman, and he seems like a really nice guy. He thinks I'm like the fireman's videographer. But I've got the camera off, and he's saying, well, I'm asking about Building 7. I'm saying, well, the building's on fire. I've been shooting footage of it. And he says, oh, yeah, that one's going to come down, too. Well, I didn't have the camera on, so I felt very bad about not having the camera on, and combined with all the other evidence we have, I'm not sure, but you know, we have all the evidence. We have facts. We have scientific proof. We have physicists. We have engineers, architects. We've got the evidence. So we went forward and we told it on the mountain, and then mainstream media came across and said, oh, the mountain's full of toxic waste. We can't believe you. And that's essentially what mainstream media has done to us. They've taken information that we got honestly, that we got sincerely, that we did everything we could to get this, and they've said, oh, that has no meaning. The only thing that has meaning is what we tell you. We create reality, we control the horizontal, we control the vertical, and all you citizen journalists can go publish a blog. I was very disappointed that my footage, I went down, I figured I didn't know what had happened that day, it was new for me. So I called up CBS on the phone and said, I've got some incredible footage from Ground Zero. Because of the shirt, I was allowed to walk around Ground Zero and take this incredible, horrific footage of stuff that I never want to see again. And I called CBS on the phone and I said, I've got this footage, you've got to see this. They said, well, bring it on down. So I brought it on down. They gave me a check for a few $100. And it was seen all over the world that evening. The first debris footage after the towers came down. I get the credit. But what I was doing was I was reinforcing a lie. And I didn't realize that because it was so soon after the event, we didn't know what we had seen. Only those that, you know, really were experts and understood immediately that buildings don't come down that way could understand this. But what was INN? Just a little bit about it. INN, as Tom mentioned earlier, was an adventure in telling the truth. You get paid big money to tell a lie, but you get paid no money to tell the truth. Tom, myself, we put in money. Everybody who worked there was working for a pittance at best. Okay, and I'm going to segue that right into, oh, by the way, we were involved in several conferences. We did 3 How the World Changed conferences down at the INN studios. This is the first year we couldn't because the building is in foreclosure and being sold in bankruptcy. Too bad for INN, but this movement carries on. First, when we were just launching it, I was approached by Jimmy Walters. They called him the Loon Tycoon. Okay, he put millions of dollars of his hard-earned inheritance into exposing 9/11 truth. And we put out these incredible DVDs. We gave away 5,000 DVDs called Confronting the Evidence. So we've certainly been part of, you know, trying to help the 9/11 movement. But let's talk a little about media management. I remember reading in a book, and I remember interviewing the author, but I can't remember much else. The way to tell a lie is to wrap it in the truth. If you tell the truth on TV news, whether it's Fox, CNN, or whoever, if you tell the truth 95 times and sneak in 5 lies, you stand on the truth of the 95 times. It's called media management. How to go ahead and make a reality where there is no reality. Is there a victim? Well, there's always a victim. There's always a winner and a loser, but that shouldn't really matter. Okay, omission is a tool. Media tools are omission. Gerald Ford took the S off of bullets, and John Kennedy was killed by a single bullet because he had an eraser in his hand that day. This is done all through history. Revisionist history is a wonderful thing. Look at the Gulf of Tonkin. Now you've got Christina Borgensen coming back out with her new film about Flight 800. You've got so many things. The Iraq War, the first Iraq War with the incubator story came out. Tillman, the quarterback, that story finally came out. Friendly fire. So there were so many incidences in media to where they create the reality. Well, we're truth seekers. We can go on the internet. We can figure out anything. Well, hopefully they're telling us the truth, and we have to pick and choose what's real to us. But as I said, alternative media, you don't get money to tell the truth. You get money to tell a lie. You know, there's been all this talk about Democracy Now! We work with Democracy Now! And the 95 times you tell the truth and the 5 you don't, unfortunately applies to Democracy Now! Also. I'll be the first to say she makes a very good living exposing government lies. And the government is lying at every turn. But for some reason, according to Democracy Now!, on 9/11, they completely told the truth. First time in history, I think Mike Rupert said it best. They lied you into a war in Iraq, but for some reason, they told you the truth about 9/11. Democracy Now! Has done some very good work. If I didn't say that, it wouldn't be fair to them. But on the topic of 9/11, they suck. Okay? Period. It's just that simple. Okay? So, we were attacked by the left quite a bit, the left gatekeepers, the Alexander Coburns of the world. There's also this nut job running around. Christopher Bolin has me as a Mossad agent because I married a Jewish girl 12 years ago or 10 years ago. So there's this big article on the internet that I am officially a Mossad agent because I think the person that held the mortgage in the building that's foreclosing on us, the hedge fund had a couple of Jewish investors, so I'm a Mossad agent. But if you get to see that article, enjoy it. Zero truth. I'm the 3rd generation son of an Italian immigrant and a factory worker. So I'm not with the Mossad, maybe later, as far as that one goes. Let's talk a little bit. If they pay, I don't think I'd do it anyway. We don't need money to tell the truth. We just need to be honest and to go forward and to demand accountability, and that's what Richard and the guys have been doing. One last thing I'd like to talk about, and that is motivational forces. When you're a young person, you're motivated primarily by desire. I want to grow up and be Superman or a firefighter or a policeman. When you're an adult, you're a little afraid of the world, so you're motivated by greed. You want to be able to build your security. And when you get a little bit older, you're motivated a lot by fear. Okay, well, these are very primal things that any psychologist will tell you. Okay, anyone that wants you to know about your motivational forces. The news uses these things against us. Think of the tools they use. They're scaring the fuck out of us by using fear constantly to tell us the bad guys are coming. I don't need to, everybody here knows the facts. Everybody out there knows more facts than I'll ever know. But I do know the bad guys are coming, and they're using fear to get us to accept, as Tom said, the chain link fence around our property for our own protection, of course, to invade our privacy for our own protection. However, we need to have stronger tools. I would say to everybody, let's be citizen journalists. Worked great for me, kind of bankrupt me and a few other things, but I tell you, I sleep great at night. Cost a lot of money to have that peace of mind, but it was worth every penny of it. Okay, there was a problem. When I went to the Alternative Media Conference in Denver, it was hosted by Free Press back in, I believe it was April. I expected to see millionaires and billionaires ponying up their money to start a new network, to have 10 Democracy Nows, only better, and to, Nation Magazine to expand its reach. And The entire conference, as far as I could tell, was about a new widget that went on your mobile so that you could automatically get Nation Magazine and Democracy Now! 24/7. That's what the entire conference was about. There was no effort to counter CBS, CNN, and these guys. Okay, what I've said is, well, why don't you broadcast on the internet only? The minute that CNN and NBC and CBS and ABC and Fox give up their television presence and their full radio presence and broadcast on the internet only, I'll be willing to do it. In the meantime, we need that kind of horsepower. We need that kind of broadcasting. We needed to get those kind of numbers. I'd like to thank RT for the wonderful work that they're doing. One slight problem I have to say about RT. The first name of RT is Russia Today. Now, the first thing that comes to my mind is a foreign government is sponsoring dissemination of propaganda to the wonderfulness of the American people. Well, we know that's not true, but just the word today, Russia Today, if you're out in the heartland, Russia Today means the commies are coming. Okay, great news, bad presentation, I'd have to say, by the thing, although I love the work they're doing and I tune them in every chance I get. Okay, what are our tools? Citizen journalists, narrowcasting versus broadcasting. Amy Goodman's getting out to 3 to 4 million people. O'Reilly's getting out to 6 to 7 million people. I have this incredible story. Wayne Madsen breaks this phenomenal story coming out of Washington, D.C., where he does this incredible investigative report, and 387 people read it. Well, actually, a few more than that. It's called narrowcasting. The best way that we can function as journalists is to go from narrowcasting to find a way to broadcasting. If Richard could raise the money for this billboard, I don't see, knowing how well that we were able to create alternative media for a price, I don't see why those out there that really want to make change can't find a way to raise the money to have a real alternative media, a bigger alternative media. Narrowcasting is great. Every one of us is doing as much as we can. The truth doesn't pay, but you sleep good at night. Let's keep telling the truth. I do recommend stealing the tools, whether it's, I don't know, what is the opposition of the fear that the bad guys are coming? The fear that we no longer have a free society, and that should be enough to save us. But we need to make it happen. I'd like to thank you for letting me speak here. I'll turn the stage back over to Richard.
Thank you, buddy. Lenny Charles, INN World Report.